Welcome back to another episode of Light Beer Dark Money. I'm Sean Noble.
I'm Chris Clements.
I almost forgot the word episode.
Yeah, it's it's easy to do when you're recording an episode to forget the word episode. But it's easy also to forget because there's so much happening.
There's a lot
right
going
now.
on. There's a lot going on.
We just recorded a couple days ago, and already the world has changed dramatically.
Yeah, it has. So it's Tuesday, September 30th.
One day before my daughter's 12th birthday.
Oh, and my daughter's 22nd birthday.
So I am going to preempt and say happy birthday, Campbell Cakers.
And happy birthday, Kate Noble.
There you go.
Kate Emma Noble. Yeah, she's 22.
Silliest kid I've ever known.
Kate's not the silliest.
Oh,
kid,
Campbell's the youngest.
Yeah, Campbell
she's a hoot.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Deep thoughts with Campbell.
Yeah. We
did
should have
that.
Campbell back on.
Well, I've tried to get her to come back. She won't do it now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she won't do it.
She's grown out of it?
She's a little bit more shy now
Oh.
than maybe she was because she's now 12.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's all right.
Yeah,
Happy
it's
birthday,
fine.
Campbell.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Okay, so yeah, so the government's going to shut down,
Yes.
and the Democrats have decided that this is their game plan. They're just going to shut it down.
It's absolutely, you would think that they're just trying to raise money. Like this is just part of the money game that they play. Like up until 11:55 p.m., then they're going to call for the vote.
Yeah,
and
I don't think that's going to happen.
Mark Kelly and other and Warner and the rest will cross over and save face, and
so
Ruben Gallego as well.
Schumer floated an idea of a shorter term stopgap, a 7 to 9 day, and the hard left immediately shot that down. They are insistent that the Democrats get something for their vote. And what they're going to get...
I don't think they're going to get anything.
What they're going to get is they're going to get a bunch of layoffs of federal workers.
Do you think that is a bluff?
From Russ?
No, I don't think it's a bluff. But do you think the Democrats believe it's a bluff?
I do believe the Democrats think it's a bluff.
Because I don't. I don't read
either.
it as
I
a
think
bluff
it's
at
real.
all. I reading through the tea leaves and reading the different opinions and listening to different podcasts over the last several days, it's almost as if our side, the conservatives, are like, please walk the plank.
Yeah.
Do it together. Because this is our one opportunity to really eviscerate the deep state.
Yeah.
And if we have till November to do it, we'll do it.
That's right.
Yeah. And Russ will do it.
Yeah.
I saw a hashtag earlier today, go Russ go.
He's going to be the
go
business
Russ
guy.
go.
Watch.
I love it.
So the government shuts down at midnight tonight. And
yeah. I think we have a hot take on that.
I'm going to guess that the vast majority of our listeners are not going to notice.
No, but unless you're in Washington, D.C. and you really, really wanted to go to the National, History Museum.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah. You won't be able to do that. You can go walk around, the parks, but there'll be nobody there to maintain them.
That's right. So, we'll see how long this lasts. It probably will. I mean, it's going to go more than a week, I'll bet.
Do you ever listen to the morning meeting with Mark Halper? So they were talking this morning about how healthcare is the big crux of what the Democrats are trying to push. And they were also claiming that the Republicans are getting squishy when it comes to these Obamacare subsidies to hospitals. But Thune, I think, is rightfully trying to say this is a separate issue.
Absolutely.
This is a completely separate issue from continuing funding the government. If we want to tackle this, we can tackle this on a separate
You don't tackle a trillion. I mean, so people understand.
If you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile.
Well, so people understand what the Democrats are asking for. This is a short-term funding bill. This is a CR, continuing resolution that goes to November. So it's a couple of months.
It's a Biden
It's actually a month and a half.
blueprint.
It's a month and a half of funding that the Democrats want to add $1 trillion in new spending to. $1 trillion to a short-term spending bill. It's just not the way that you do these things.
Yes.
It's just not. So anyway.
Well, and that $1 trillion is not just about healthcare. It's about, covering illegal aliens and allowing for healthcare transitions for youngsters.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about
a lot of radical stuff.
A lot of stuff
that are just non-starters.
This administration does not believe in the government funding.
Yeah,
we don't fund healthcare for illegals. We don't fund gender-affirming care for minors.
Exactly,
it just doesn't happen.
Nope.
It should not happen with federal dollars, with
Nope.
tax dollars. Period.
But Chucky Schumer is backed up in a corner because he's not really even the leader of his own party. People are claiming that it's AOC, my good friend Sandy Cortez.
You know what?
It's Sandy.
You know what, Chris? It's not going to be long before it's senator.
Well, I mean,
Cortez.
that is the play here. It's either going to be senator or she's going to be running for president. One or the other.
Or both.
Or both. Yeah.
When is Schumer up?
He's up.
In 26?
This is it.
Is he really up this year?
I think so.
Really?
No. Am I wrong?
I think
if I'm wrong, that's fine. But he's running scared no matter what he's doing.
I mean, he's definitely not, he's not in charge. The grassroots hard left is in charge. They're dictating what's happening.
Yeah.
For sure.
And they're all going to walk the plank together.
Yeah. And
they're going to learn the hard way.
They're going to learn the hard way.
Who the most powerful man in Washington is. And it's not President Trump.
It's Roosevelt.
It's this very gentlemanly, intellectually sound conservative man named Roosevelt.
Yeah.
We have a hot take, Vice President Vance.
All right, let's do it.
Talking about this very issue.
I think we're headed to a shutdown because the Democrats won't do the right thing. You don't use your policy disagreements as leverage to not pay our troops, to not have essential services of government actually function. You don't say the fact that you disagree about a particular tax provision is an excuse for shutting down the people's government and all the essential services that come along with it. If you look at what Chuck Schumer has said in the past consistently, it's whatever our disagreements are, let's negotiate with them. Let's talk about them. Let's figure out a bipartisan solution, but you don't shut the government down. In other words, you don't put a gun to the American people's head and say, unless you do exactly what Senate and House Democrats want you to do, we're going to shut down your government. That's exactly what they're proposing out there. Now, we have to remember, they're very frustrated. They say that they're very frustrated about the fact that this negotiation has not taken place until today. But if you look at the original thing they did with this negotiation, it was a $1.5 trillion spending package, basically saying to the American people, we want to give massive amounts of money, hundreds of billions of dollars to illegal aliens for their health care while Americans are struggling to pay their health care bills. That was their initial foray into this negotiation. We thought it was absurd. We told them it was absurd. And now they come in here saying that if you don't give us everything that we want, we're going to shut down the government. We think that's preposterous. We think it's totally unacceptable. And we think the American people are going to suffer because these guys won't do the right thing.
Yeah, you know, my first takeaway is God bless J.D. Vance. He has really stepped into the role of vice president. He's
stepped into the role of taking the bat, winding up, and smacking the Democrats on the head with it.
I mean, well, just
and very clear, and not bombastic language.
No.
Just this is what's going on. This is why it's important, and this is our response.
Yeah. I mean,
it can't be clearer than that.
Yeah. I mean, he said it all. I don't have anything to add.
Well, and the thing is that the Republicans, by passing that CR, I don't think people really understand how difficult that is with the slim majority that they had. Nobody in that caucus likes the CR. All of them hate it. But if they can pass the clean CR, they knew, I think it's a trap, they knew the Democrats would fall on their sword for all their goodies they want to throw at it. And, we've said in the show before, you either, you're going to rise together or you're going to hang together.
Yeah.
And I think the Democrats are going to learn that really quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think there's going to be departments and different people who are going to wake up tomorrow morning and they're going to be told, you no longer are employed by the United States government.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, you're no longer employed by that. We're not bringing you back.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a permanent dismissal.
Yeah. Yeah. You are dismissed.
Yeah.
Forever. Well, we'll see how that plays out, folks. It'll be very interesting to watch.
Yeah. I don't know. You gotta hope that sounder brains and heads and intellects prevail, and maybe those 7 Democrats get together at 10:55 and say
it's not
call the vote. But it's not going to happen.
Okay. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. I think this is
no.
shut
I
down.
think you're right. I think JD Vance.
By the
is
time you guys see this, the government will be closed,
and you won't notice.
Yeah.
You'll be like, okay,
that is correct.
no problem.
But there will be there will be a point in which Democrats are going to put enough pressure on Schumer. Well, actually, it won't necessarily even be pressure on Schumer. They'll go to Thune and they'll say, "Look, we'll vote for it."
Yeah.
So call the vote, and it'll be Fetterman. I wouldn't be surprised if Mark Kelly is one of those.
Oh, I would say it'd be
open.
Fetterman. I think Fetterman's ready to vote for it now. He thinks it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I bet it's Fetterman, Warner, Gallego, Kelly, a couple others.
Because they only need 6, right?
6 or 7. Yeah,
I think 6 because we have 54. Or do we have 53?
we have 53.
53. Okay.
Yeah, so we need they need 7.
All right. Well, let's see how this plays. Now, clearly, there are some who are angling for presidential runs, like Cory Booker and
Crazy
others.
eyes.
It'll be interesting to see what John Ossoff does. He's up for a tough reelection.
Yeah, I think John Ossoff. I even think Cory. You're going to get 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is just a matter of how many days.
Holds all the cards. I mean, it's a clean CR. They can wait it out.
Yeah.
I mean, the Democrats really have no cards. If they had loaded it up with a bunch of stuff, that'd be one thing. But they didn't.
No, that's the thing. Is that the Republicans did the smart thing. They said we're going to pass a clean CR. We're not playing the Christmas tree game.
Yeah.
We're just going to pass. And if you want to have a discussion about spending more on other things, let's have that discussion. Yeah, that's a longer term discussion. That is not a short term funding discussion.
Yeah, those are other policy provisions.
All right, since we covered this in our previous episode, this is the Pete Hegseth had his big meeting with all his generals.
Yeah,
and the president showed up.
And the president came over.
And what happened?
Well, so the headline coming out of Just the News is that Hegseth declares end to woke military culture, tells top leaders to resign if they disagree. So it was kind of a comeuppance.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a comeuppance.
So
and I think the whole thing was to elevate him as the Secretary of War and to bring in all these generals. They brought them in from all over the world.
Right.
And basically to continue to set this tone that we are going to change the way this department has been run for several decades. We're going to eliminate things that don't work. We're going to advance things that help us fight wars and to kill the enemy. It's a pretty brutal speech.
Yeah. Well, and the thing
I didn't catch Trump's speech. That he was coming on after the tail end of this, but we do have a hot take on it.
Well, before we go to the hot take, one of the other things that he talked about was we're going to all pass the physical test,
the physical fitness test.
Yeah,
and they're gonna reinstitute the. I saw this earlier. They're gonna reinstitute like one of the original tests, like the brutal one.
He's like, we don't want fat generals.
Boot camp is going to be brutal. It's not going to be this. We like you and love to have you part of our nice little military. No, it's going to be brutal, and it's going to weed out people who aren't prepared.
Yeah. Now, and I totally agree with that on the enlisted guys. Making sure that they fit. So the real question is, I mean, how does it? Because there are fat generals. How does this impact? Because
just like the last head of the Department of Defense.
Yeah. So
who was not healthy by any stretch. Who disappeared for a week?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
So it'll be interesting because
he underwent surgery,
because it does raise a question in my mind, and I will credit my wife, Alyssa, to this, because I was like, yeah, people should be physically fit if they're going to be in the military. And she's like, even the generals. I was like, yeah. And then she's like, do you know anything about the military? I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't. So that was a good question to ask, because clearly if you're at the level of general, you're there it's not your physical prowess that got you there. You've done something with your brain.
And you've done all that, and you're much older now.
Yeah. So
you're typically in your 50s,
I would assume
60s,
that there's probably
even 70s.
some. I don't know what the rules are of the physical fitness test, how it applies. Will there be people who fail it? Yep, certainly. But what kind of exemptions? Whatever. It'll be interesting to see. But I do agree that we need to be a fit and fighting force.
I think you can frame it by age, though. Like at age 50, you should be able to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
At age 60, your heart doesn't work the same way. Right. I mean, just typically, you should be able to do, A, B, and C, whatever it is.
So my biggest weakness, and because I don't know how many pull-ups they're required to do,
I think,
but that's always, as
10.
we've talked about. That's why the Murph is such a challenge for me, is because I am not good at pull-ups. I feel fairly strong in other ways, but pull-ups are a weakness.
Yeah.
I'm not certain that if I was told you cannot get behind this microphone unless you can do 12 pull-ups, if I could do 12 pull-ups.
But we've had this discussion before. Is that full pull-ups or kipping?
Well, kipping, is that a pull-up?
Yeah, but if you go to some of these competitions, they're kipping the way.
Yeah, but if you're kipping, you're doing 30 pull-ups instead of like the kipping is, to me, that's
when I do a pull-up, I extend and I cross my ankles and I do a pull-up. And sometimes I raise my legs up to kind of crunch. And if I can get 5 or 6, that's a good day.
At
a time. That's a good day.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's go to what he talked about, the woke stuff.
Of politically correct, overly sensitive, don't hurt anyone's feelings leadership ends right now.
Woohoo!
But if the words I'm speaking today are making your heart sink, then you should do the honorable thing and resign. We would thank you for your service. For too long, we've promoted too many uniformed leaders for the wrong reasons. Based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts. We've pretended that combat arms and non-combat arms are the same thing. We've weeded out so-called toxic leaders under the guise of double-blind psychology assessments, promoting risk-averse, go-along-to-get-along conformists instead. You name it, the department did it. Foolish and reckless political leaders set the wrong compass heading, and we lost our way. We became the woke department, but not anymore. This administration has done a great deal from day one to remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department, to rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. But when it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it.
Okay. That's the way it should be.
That is a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
That is, I'm curious how, I'm sure there was division within that room in terms of, the type of work that
it'll be
they've done,
interesting
that
to
they
see
believe
how
in.
many resign.
But yeah, how many resign? I would bet some will, obviously. But I bet a lot who have been in the military the ones who've been there for a long time, and certainly the ones who have seen combat or in forward positions, even today. I mean, meaning like they're in Europe, they're in Southeast Asia, they're
Middle East.
They're in the Middle East. They're not in Greenland. They're not in Iceland. They're in, I would say, forward positions in terms of conflict or potential conflict. I would say they would welcome this sort of framework. And this tone.
Yeah,
that is a refreshing tone.
You know who I think really appreciates this? The badass women who know that they can beat the shit out of some of the guys.
Oh, some of the women who are in the Marines, they can
now say, yeah,
I made it.
Take me on my merits.
Yeah, I made it, and I made it on the merits.
Yeah, because there's some for sure.
Well, the dudes in dresses, I don't know where they are, but I would imagine
they're leaving.
They're leaving.
They're leaving.
Yeah.
Whew. You're right. It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it absolutely needed to happen. And, I think when he was confirmed, or even before that, listen, I got to give him credit. I mean, him going to like Europe and waking up with the troops and running with them and doing the physical fitness stuff in the morning, that is a lot. In any position, it doesn't really matter what leadership position. If you're the CEO and they see you on the front lines,
yeah,
and they see you doing what they do, I mean, that was ingrained into me in my former life.
Yeah,
and I was so lucky that I grew up that way. That if you can jump in and you can assist, doesn't mean that you're doing that all the time,
right?
But you can prove that you belong. That's a great thing.
There's no greater morale boost than seeing the boss doing what you have to do.
Yeah. It's absolutely correct.
It is.
Absolutely correct. So
I
good,
mean,
good for him. I want to
a,
go back and listen to the whole thing.
I will consider this a great first step in the reform of the department, the War Department, or the Defense Department, however you want to say it. But what's needed next is a full accounting of where the freak the money is.
Yeah, there needs to be an audit.
So that's next on tap, I hope.
Yeah,
I think that this is it's going to take some time. This is a decades long problem.
Yes,
on this department.
Well, I mean
the
golden toilet seats, and
I mean the $700 hammers.
Stuff that makes no sense in terms of procurement.
The military industrial complex has thrived, and they need to go on a diet.
Completely.
Need to go on a diet. We need to strip it down to the basics.
Completely.
Let's see. What do we want? Yeah, I was debating whether to talk local or hit a couple more of these. Which one, Alex? Which one's your favorite of what we have left to cover here? Because we're not going to be able to get out through all. All right, let's go RFK. This is one of those surprises. Alex surprises us with something.
It's all the liberal stuff that he watches and listens
I know
to.
there are some out there who still think, well, RFK's weird about vaccines, but he knows a lot about health-related issues. But you would be surprised by just how wildly wrong he can be when he is spouting alarming, official-sounding statistics.
We are 4.2% of the world's population. We buy 70% of the pharmaceutical drugs on Earth. 15% of American youth are now on Adderall or some other ADHD medication. When I was a kid, I always say this, a typical pediatrician would see one case of diabetes in his lifetime. Today, it's 1 out of every 3 kids who walks through his office door. 20 years ago, there was no diabetes in China. Today, 50% of the population is diabetic.
So here's the thing. All the numbers you just heard him say are bullshit. Americans don't buy 70% of the drugs on Earth. We buy around 6%. 15% of American youth aren't on ADHD meds. Estimates put it closer to 5%. 1 in 3 kids don't have diabetes. It's actually 0.35%, or 1 in 285 kids. And the rate of diabetes in China is roughly 12%, not, as I think you already know, 50%. Half of all the people in China do not have diabetes. And look, we have asked our researchers to fact-check some dumb shit before on this show. Last year, we literally emailed J.D. Vance's team to ask, has Senator Vance ever had sex with a couch? And has Senator Vance ever had sex with any other furniture or household items? But somehow that was still less embarrassing than writing to multiple diabetes experts this week and asking, do half the people in China have diabetes? and in return getting a bunch of versions of no and one response from a doctor that called Kennedy's statement ludicrous, adding, these stats might be related to the worm in his brain.
Well, you have to say that John Oliver can be very funny. And, you know, look, I don't believe that RFK knows everything. Do I think that he's headed down the right direction? Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe those stats are exaggerated.
Yes.
And but I don't think the stats with regard to what am I trying to say? Autism are all that exaggerated.
Yeah.
And I don't think that his quest to find an answer for why this has become an epidemic is exaggerated.
Well,
and
he's willing to ask.
And I don't think that his quest to eliminate chemicals and crap in our food is exaggerated.
Yeah.
So I thank him for those things every day, because for decades, nobody's been asking the question.
Right.
You know, I don't understand. I still understand why. And I follow Peter McCullough from the McCullough Institute. And we probably should have some hot takes from him, because he's been on every show lately. But, you know, he's been tracking autism for a long time. And, you know, when you and I were growing up, there were only really 5 vaccines that were required for us. And look at us. We're fine.
Well,
now there's over 70 doses
Yeah.
required for our kids, including a Hep B vaccine at birth that makes no effing sense.
Yeah.
None.
Well,
So if he's going to call into question those things, I applaud him.
yeah. And look,
And who
everyone
knows?
exaggerates.
The Chinese eating all that rice, maybe there is an epidemic.
I mean, in actuality, I don't think we really can know. I mean, they're locked down from the standpoint of like information flow. So
Yeah.
I don't trust anybody that says, "Oh no, we don't know."
Yeah.
And I don't think RFK knows. I mean, but
No. But I
guessing
still
that-
support the work that he's doing.
yeah, he's got some great people around him, and
he's and the best thing about it are the people who he has around him absolutely know what they're doing.
yeah, and I disagree with him on a number of things vociferously, but the fact that he's asking tough questions, putting pharmaceutical companies on notice, in my mind, is a good thing. 100%.
Well, and making the COVID vaccine an option and not mandatory. If all the research that is coming out of the McCullough Foundation that they're posting is frightening.
Yeah.
Absolutely frightening.
All right, so we'll wrap this today with the breaking news.
The
this
breaking
morning,
news
that Congressman David Schweikert, friend of the pod, been on this podcast many times,
probably more than anybody.
probably
really.
has decided that he is not going to run for re-election to Congress. He is going to run for governor.
Yeah.
And I know, Chris, you feel the same way, am very disappointed in that decision.
Yes, I think it's a mistake.
Because he is an important voice in Congress.
Completely.
And
an important voice for Arizona on the Ways and Means Committee.
And my fear is that if he's not running for Congress, then that seat will go to the Democrats.
Yeah, because he's been able to be outspent and outgunned and outrun, and yet he's been able to win because of the way he runs campaigns. Now, that is that can go in his favor on a statewide race, but he is relatively unknown statewide. In terms of what lane he's going to pick, there's 2 of the biggest lanes, which is the business-friendly lane and the MAGA lane, are taken.
Yeah.
And so if he's going to the traditional conservative lane, that lane is very narrow.
Yeah.
So there's that. Traditionally, David has had a really, really tough time raising money, and this race will take money. And also his campaign staff and also his current chief and whatever I don't think is ready for a statewide race. That's my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I like David. David is a friend. I will be his friend. I am neutral in this race, and I will continue to be neutral in terms of my support. So if he jumps in, I certainly will support him nominally. But I'm not hopefully he'll come on still come on the show and plead his case, as and everyone is welcome to come on the show.
Right.
Most likely because of your somewhat stated conflict, it will have to be a solo interview.
Yeah, if they want. Either way, look, if Karen or David want to come on and talk about the governor's race, and if they're uncomfortable with me being here, that's fine. We'll let you do it. Because like you said, you are neutral. I am not. I am supporting Biggs. I think he's our best shot at winning the governor's seat.
Yeah, and so from the polling data that you're seeing, how do you think this affects the race from your professional opinion?
So
that was my first sort of thinking this morning.
Setting aside the entire issue about the congressional seat, just as the governor's race frame, this actually is a net positive for Biggs.
And why is that?
Because I believe Schweikert,
because some other guy named Noble,
Mike Noble,
thinks the opposite.
Does he think that?
I don't know if he thinks that, but his polling has projected an inordinate amount of support for Karen Taylor.
Yeah, he has a poll that's fundamentally bad. The whole entire we did there was a whole memo done dissecting that poll that showed Karen Taylor up 10. That is not true. The way I look at it is so there was a poll done, I think, by the Club for Growth that tested, and this is an interesting thing because Schweikert's been a Club for Growth guy.
Oh, completely.
And the Club for
He's
Growth
one of their acolytes.
And the Club for Growth is saying to him, we are with Biggs. So he's going against the club by doing this.
Well, he's got to be going against congressional leadership.
Well, for sure he's going against.
He doesn't have a big presence within any of the chambers or the conservative groups here. He's a conservative, but he hasn't, in my opinion, fostered those relationships like Biggs and even Karen has to a certain extent.
So the polling that the club did was because they polled Biggs and Karen, and it showed Biggs winning by 20 some points. And then they did the three-way, and what it showed was Biggs at 48, Karen at 20 something, and Schweikert at 11, 26, and Schweikert at 11.
Oh, 11's generous. I would have thought like 5.
Yeah, but they showed it at 11. So, what it is.
There's a runway here.
The interesting thing is if you dived into the crosstabs on that, what you saw was that David didn't even win his congressional district.
Yeah.
So I don't quite understand.
Well, what does David like to say? What does he like to preach to us?
He says that politics is math.
Yes, and the math doesn't work.
The math is not adding up.
Yeah, the math on this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And the math on this decision is disappointing.
Yeah.
Whatever math that is.
I'm sure we'll have much more to talk about on this as time goes on.
Well, on Thursday, I'm sure we will, because the announcement will have been made and the rationale for running will have been presented, and we'll be able to dissect that.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Until then.
Okay. Thank you for listening.
Everybody.
God bless.
See ya.